Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the most up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. We're getting things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are slipping this morning, with S&P futures down 0.77%, Dow futures down 0.87%, and NASDAQ futures down 0.61%. Markets are turning lower today as investors flee for cover under U.S. Treasuries and the dollar, as fear of the Fed initiating tapering stimulus this year has started to elevate, all of which is seemingly coming regardless of the Delta variant and its effect on global markets. A sell-off in commodities has deepened, with iron ore plunging more than 10% and oil headed for its longest negative trend since the beginning of the pandemic. Elsewhere in markets, the 10-year Treasury yield has dropped 4 basis points, and the dollar is moving higher toward a 9-month high. While investors brace for the withdrawal of unprecedented liquidity as the developed world looks to mass vaccinations to stay on the path of recovery, the Delta variant only continues to spread, and China's growth is coming to a slow, both of which are factors that raise questions as to whether the global economy can actually absorb the shock of reduced support. Over in Europe, the stocks slid the most it has all month. Over in Asia, shares like Alibaba have slumped to new lows in Hong Kong after China hit the industry with a fresh round of regulations. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Well, Shane, the S&Ps are telling me all I need to know, where we're going to have an opening that's much lower than where we closed yesterday. They did bounce. The S&Ps did bounce a little bit, but then they retraced it. The market is still reacting to that slide in Asia and in Europe. You look over in Asia, they're down, 1 to 2%. You look this morning in Europe, indices are down 2%. Why? Because of the Fed came out with some discussions about tapering in the Fed notes that were released yesterday. You got to remember these Fed notes that were released yesterday, they didn't change much compared to what was announced when the FOMC came out on July 28th with their recap of what was said in the meeting from the last FOMC meeting. So I see this as kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but I'm cautious because next week, guess what? We have an FOMC meeting. Key economic event to watch this morning is the initial jobless claims. If this number is good, the S&Ps will pull back a little further. Oil prices, they started to climb a little bit. They were down 3%. Now they're only down 2%, so that's positive. On the earnings front this afternoon, we have earnings reports coming out from AMAT, Applied Materials, Ross Stores. And tomorrow morning, we have earnings reports coming out from Deere & Company, Foot Locker, and Buckle, the retailer.
Let's go ahead and talk about earnings, starting out with the earnings we've seen come in so far. I see a big miss for Bath and Body Works. Bill, walk us through it.
Well, they did have a big miss, but it was done on much higher revenue. So, the stock actually, after the earnings were released, I saw it trading higher. So they missed by 58 cents, but it was done on higher revenue. So it was actually not horrible. You look at Cisco, they beat by 2 cents. They did it on higher revenue. Synopsys, that's ticker SNPS, Sam, Nancy, Paul, Sam, they beat by 3 cents on higher revenue. Spartan Nash, Sam, Paul, Tom, Nancy, they beat by 6 cents on higher revenue. Other ones that came out yesterday include the NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. NVIDIA beat by 2 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at NVIDIA, that stock is up, 1% this morning. That Bed Bath and Body Works, they're up 5%. So, even though they did a big miss, that stock is trading higher. But that's what I see for the earnings that have recently come out last night. But this morning, we have a different whole set of companies reporting. You have Macy's, ticker M. They beat by $1.15 on higher revenue. This was a huge beat compared to what the estimates were. Kohl's, that's ticker KSS, Kilo Sam Sam. They beat by $1.32 on higher revenue. Look at Kohl's this morning, so it's up 2.6%. Estee Lauder, that's ticker EL, Elvis Larry. They beat by 28 cents on higher revenue. Estee Lauder's up 0.92% this morning. Those are the key earnings that I saw coming out last night and this morning, Shane.
Give us some insights as far as the upcoming earning announcements.
Well, this afternoon we have AMAT, Applied Materials. They're set to release their EPS estimate is $1.77. The expected move there is 4.74%. We have Ross Stores, that's ticker ROST, Richard, Oscar, Sam, Tom. Their EPS estimate is 97 cents, and the percentage move there is 3.63%. Then tomorrow morning we have Deere & Company, that's ticker DE, David Edward. The EPS estimate is $4.58. The expected move there is 4%. Foot Locker, ticker FL, Frank Larry. They're also releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS estimate is at $1. The percentage move there is 7.35%. And another retailer, Buckle, which is ticker BKE, Boy, Kilo, Edward. Their EPS estimate is 86 cents, and the expected move there is 6.74%.
Moving into our economic reports, Bill, tell us what we're seeing for reports today.
At 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 hour before the market opens, we have the jobless claims due out. Also at 8:30, we have the Philadelphia Fed's Manufacturing Index, and at 10 a.m., we have a report on e-commerce retail sales. Also at 10 a.m., we have the leading economic indicators being released.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things off with one on Amazon, ticker AMZN. Amazon plans to open several large physical retail locations in the U.S. that will operate akin to department stores. Some of the first stores are expected to be located in Ohio and California. The new spaces will be around 30,000 square feet and offer items from top consumer brands. News on Pfizer, ticker PFE, and BioNTech, ticker BNTX. Results from one of the largest real-world studies into the efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines conducted in the UK found that Pfizer's vaccine lost effectiveness in the first 90 days after full vaccination, as well as that when vaccinated people did get infected with Delta, they were shown to have similar levels of the virus in their body when compared to infected individuals who were unvaccinated. So it really wasn't any difference. Pfizer's share price is down 1.42% in pre-market, while BioNTech is down 3.34%. So bad news for them. Elsewhere on the tape, Compugen, ticker CGEN, and AstraZeneca, ticker AZN, are working on the clinical development of an antibody to treat lung cancer. AstraZeneca plans to initiate a phase 1 study. In other news, Lloyd's Banking Group, ticker LYG, is planning to buy 50,000 homes by 2030 as part of its move into the UK private home rental market. The plan will see the lender's Citral Living brand buy 10,000 properties by the end of 2025, either through mergers and acquisitions or strategic alliances. News on Toyota, ticker TM. Toyota is cutting its global production target by 40% in September due to the ongoing global chip shortage and the spread of the Delta variant of the coronavirus across its production base in Southeast Asia. The Japanese automaker is now aiming to produce 500,000 vehicles next month, down from its earlier plan for 900,000 vehicles. The reduced production goal means Toyota will temporarily suspend production lines at several domestic factories, while production in other regions will likely be scaled back by tens of thousands of units. Toyota's share price is down 3.01% in pre-market. Elsewhere on the tape, Orbcom, ticker ORBC. The FCC has approved the transfer of control for Orbcom's FCC authorizations for its deal with GI Partners. Orbcom's share price is up 1.6% in pre-market. In other news, JustEatTakeaway.com, ticker TKWY, and Aiden are partnering to implement a takeaway pay card. Lastly for me, news on Rio Tinto, ticker RIO. The company is partnering with the West Australian government to launch a COVID-19 vaccination blitz, targeting communities in the Pilbara and the fly-in, fly-out workforce by establishing vaccination hubs and trial clinics at the Perth airport. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Well, Shane, I break my news alerts down into sector-based alerts, for oil and gas, semiconductors, and so forth. And then I have alerts that I use for events such as economic events or earnings events. It just helps me just jump on the news that's breaking. So that way I can get in before the price action really starts to happen. I start off with my FANG alert every morning, and I see that, Netflix has a lot of news on it. Netflix is about to debut a spatial audio support system for that's going to be available on the iPhone and the iPad. I also see that the SEC has charged 3 former software engineers of Netflix for insider trading. That's not a positive. I'm going over to Tesla. I mean, Tesla is going to be joining hands with a Japanese company to build an energy storage facility using its rechargeable battery in northern Japan to help stabilize the power system over there. The big event with Tesla is coming this afternoon. They have their AI day. This day's a lot of hype. They bring out they talk about a lot of things that they're working on that they want to bring into production. It's more hype than actually substance because they really don't bring a lot of these new features that they talk about into production. But it is an interesting event. I know Barron's calls it a dead event, but it is still worth listening to. In terms of my Dow Jones 30 alert, I have there's an analyst event from Wedbush going on with Visa today. They have a payment services conference that's going to start at 11 a.m. Johnson & Johnson, they are apparently in talks with the FTC and the CDC on a possible COVID-19 booster shot. And Apple, I noticed that JP Morgan came out this morning. They raised their price target on the stock to 180 from 175. I find that interesting. Looking over at the options market, the market's selling off on all sectors this morning, and I'm keeping an eye on the raw material space. Look at Cleveland Cliffs. That's ticker CLF, Charlie, Larry, Frank. The 30-day option implied volatility is at 60. Now you compare that to the 52-week range of 55 to 114. You kind of understand why there's a call-put ratio of 2.5 calls to every one put. Freeport McMoran, that's ticker FCX, Frank Charlie X-ray, 30-day option implied volatility is at 45 compared to the 52-week range of 41 to 64. Looking at some buyback news, I see that Macy's, in addition to offering a blowout quarter, they also announced a buyback, a $500 million buyback plan this morning. TJ Maxx, that's the ticker TJX, Tom, John, X-ray. They're expecting to repurchase about $1.25 billion to $1.5 billion worth of stock. That's up from the previous plan of $250 million. So that's a big increase. A couple shareholders meeting to note. Lazy Boy, that's ticker LZB, Larry Zebra Boy. At 8 a.m., they're having their shareholders meeting. 10 a.m., Kansas City Southern, that's ticker KSU. They're having their shareholders meeting. And at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, ticker RIDE, Richard, India, David, Edward. That's Lordstown Motors. They're going to be holding a shareholders meeting as well. But that's what I have for you in terms of events going on today, Shane.
Let's talk about our Trade Talk picks for today. I'm picking Ross Stores, ticker ROST. This is an earnings play, so they're announcing after market their earnings, and they have an EPS estimate of 94 cents. Ross has been seeing favorable earnings estimate revisions activity as of late, and that's generally a precursor as to earnings beat. And of course, on top of that, analysts have been upgrading on Ross Stores to buy and changing their price target on them, so that's been positive. And then lastly, Macy's just came out with blowout earnings, which means people are buying clothes. And if they're buying clothes from Macy's, you better believe they're probably buying from Ross Stores too. It's where their specialty lies. So it's looking good for Ross Stores today, and I'm expecting them to get a good beat and that to do well for their share price. So what's your pick looking like, Bill?
Well, I'm going with Verizon today. That's ticker VZ, Victor Zebra. It's kind of a safety play. If you on days like today, when the market is expected to have a big move lower, you want to go into safety stocks. Internet access and cell phones are typically very solid revenue producers. Hence, the drop in the stock price is really a big event here. So I'm expecting it to sell off for the first 15 minutes, and then it would be a good opportunity to get in. And it should actually turn around in the second half of the day. So my pick today is Verizon, ticker VZ, Victor Zebra. Not at the opening. Wait 15 minutes.
Moving into what's hot off the press, the news that's moving the tape as we speak. Let's get into it. Bill, which are the headlines you think we should be letting traders know about?
Allstate, ticker ALL, Apple Larry Larry. Allstate estimates 179 million July catastrophic losses.
Esports Technologies, ticker EBET, has filed a patent for an AI-powered odds modeling system.
Ticker OLB, Oscar Larry Boy. They unveil a $6.1 million registered direct offering. Shares are trading lower.
Beyond Meat, ticker BYND, is a stock on watch as Chipotle Mexican Grill, ticker CMG, has announced in-house plant-based chorizo.
See, Citibank cut their price target for Roku, ticker ROKU, Richard Oscar Kilo Under, to 410 from 450.
Facebook, ticker FB, has launched Horizon Workrooms. This is something to aid in virtual offices for people working from home. There's a big acquisition. Innovalon, ticker INOV, is to be acquired by Equity Consortium led by the Nordic Capital for $7.3 billion.
Just worth noting, Goldman bought a Dutch asset manager for 1.7 billion euros this morning. Disney, ticker DIS, David India Sam, they're going to be rolling out a new planning service called Disney Genie for visitors to its theme parks. It's essentially a way to cut in line. It's kind of replacing their Fast Pass, if you're familiar with that. They're also having their Princess Week next week.
Andre Bloch has acquired shares of Curaleaf Holdings, that's ticker CURLF and ticker CURA. Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's really it.
Same here. So that's what's hot off the press. The same breaking stories that we receive, traders, you can receive the same thing simply by subscribing at newsware.com. It'll up your trading game, so check us out and get a free trial. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Wednesday. I had Regeneron, ticker REGN. Now, this was a stock that really remained flat through the most part of the morning, opened at $650, and finally by 11:30 a.m., it just kind of rose quickly, kind of abruptly, and went up to as high as $658.72 for a 1.23% gain. Stayed there for a little bit, ended up dropping lower, closing at $635.20. So there were some gains to be had if you had timed this one right and watched it well. So overall, not too bad. How did yours end up doing, Bill?
I went with Salesforce.com yesterday. That's ticker CRM, Charlie Richard Mary. Stock opened up at $248 and then rose all the way up to $256.79. That's a 3.54% move. Then the 2 o'clock hour happened with the Fed meeting notes, and the stock actually, moved lower. It still closed up on the day, gaining 1.3%. But it was all around. It was either way you look at it, it was a good win. It was a good winning trade for CRM yesterday, Charlie Richard Mary.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk. But traders, you know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.